That was bad. Our final game for tonight, PSG Talon versus CTBC Flying Oyster. This is definitely a match that is going to deliver. And we'll see if Junja can deliver for PSG as well in his first game.
Yeah, he's on the Wukong, so pretty good champ for carrying. Actually, the Conqueror taking on a Zeta, so definitely playing for more scaling. Also, double Scorch for Lucian Nami here. Probably pretty normal, but it's pretty scary.
You don't sound too scared by it.
Well, I think also the grasp by Gragas in this matchup. I mean, I don't know the Gragas runes that well, but I feel like when you play against most bruisers, you go for Phase Rush or even First Strike. So the grasp is interesting. Maybe you just need it in order to survive the early dive.
Nice, that was a good rhyme.
Thanks. I didn't even realize.
Overall, though, yeah, once again we see the Zeri Lulu, punishing the weak Lucian Nami level 1. Yeah, man, I'm very interested to see how this grasp will go, because, yeah, I do agree that it feels like Phase Rush more often than not helps Gragas a lot more in those matchups, because it's pretty hard to get grasp procs off without getting, chunked down by Renekton.
Yeah, I'm assuming that just without grasp and without the resolve tree, maybe it's just too hard in order to, stay high on health.
Right.
And I think if you get dived by Sedge Renekton, it could definitely, get out of your hands pretty quickly. But yeah, so far, everything kind of going as expected. I love that Shun takes Ignite on Lucian every time. I think he's the only one that does it.
Definitely Chad behavior.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time you're just forced to go cleanse because there's too many Sejuanis. And actually, interesting, Waco doesn't have cleanse, although Lulu will probably build the Mikhails. But having no cleanse versus Sedge Renekton, that's pretty greedy.
It's also pretty Chad. He has got the barrier to replace it though, so not quite as ballsy, but still respected nevertheless.
And no Ignite Zeri.
Gemini though, looking topside already, as you'd expect. Trying to make use of the strong topside on the side of CFO. Not going to find anything in the jungle though.
Yeah,
but the wave is stacked up.
Yeah, perhaps even with the grasp could be looked at, but I feel like diving a Gragas is not only difficult, but also just a waste of time. Yeah, actually getting to look for it. I feel like this is just not really worth it. I really like RJ here holding the wave off the tower. It's really smart, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much, but it completely nullifies any chance of a dive.
Yeah, that's a good play. Now, kind of trading back and forth. At least now that Yumi's gone, people can kind of die eventually.
Oh, Shun dashing in aggressively. Waco does get bubbled up, but uses the barrier very early on in the lane to try and just avoid as much damage as possible.
Yeah, and Jimin also getting very low, but has Fleet, Second Wind, Door, and Shield TP. The unholy. What's one more than a Trinity, Amelg?
Quadrinity.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what he has. Possible to ever die with that.
It is pretty broken. He's already back to half HP after that. That is really something else.
Yeah.
But Yubel opting for the Conqueror and making a lot of use of it in this early game.
Yeah. So far, no real action. It's kind of hard, I think, for when you've got like two teams where they're both like pretty top tier. Probably aren't going to have anyone getting outclassed individually, at least too much. And will be more about those team fights. We see Waco does have that Vamp Scepter pretty early, so it's definitely going to be good for those bot trades. Actually, it's the Chemtech Drag. Warning.
Mixing it up a bit. I wonder what Shun will buy on his base here. It surely can't be the Serrated Dirk. That would be pretty crazy from him, but it actually is going to be that item completed. For Shun, sorry, I shouldn't hype up nothing.
What do you mean? It's big. Never seen that before.
It is big. It is a big power spike for the Lucian Nami bot lane, as we've mentioned before, in the other 90 times this matchup has been played. But the fact still remains that it gives them a little bit more wiggle room, and especially with Waco already burning his barrier in that earlier trade, does give CFO that little bit extra kill pressure in the bot lane.
Yeah, so solo lane is starting to hit level 6 here. And I think this is where we might start to see some skirmishing happen, especially when Junja and Gemini both complete their sixes as well, that's when all the tools kind of come online. Before that, everyone's just doing their best to kind of get through the laning phase without losing too much for it. Greg is actually going for the Sheen, so I guess building Iceborne?
Oh, does cancel the base as well. Iceborne Gauntlet.
It's pretty interesting, because I feel like, yeah, I guess they have a fair amount of AP damage on their team already, maybe don't need any more. But, you know, normally you see, like, Leandry's, just because it outputs, you know, a lot of damage. Gets the ward.
Junja and Gemini gonna spot each other out. Junja does get a free pink ward for his troubles, though.
Yeah, can't quite smite it with his vision denied. And could maybe look at the drag. I mean, has a lot of priority, but at the same time, skirmishing against a Dirk Lucian and a level 6 Akali, maybe not the best choice.
It's going to go the way of Junja for now, and he's actually quite a bit ahead in terms of jungle camps, which is pretty surprising considering there hasn't really been any action in the early game.
Yeah. As Dragon is probably going to stay live for a while. I feel like neither team can really start it without getting collapsed on. And Jimmy, he's managing to stay pretty even in CS. Actually surprised he went for the Merc Tread so early. I think you could just buy MR, probably.
Yeah, you don't really get much value from that extra tenacity at this point.
Yeah. But okay. Junja looks like he's going to start at this drag. Currently has mid and bot prior. Now, if you're CFO, if you know this is going down, you might be able to contest. But at the same time, Herald spawning in 30 seconds, it might just be better for Gemini to go topside, you know, clear out his top camps, and kind of have the tempo advantage on this Herald. So this looks like it will be drag number 1 going over to PSG. So it's going to be nice. Reasonable timing too. They got 740. So going to be able to get that, you know, reasonably early in the game.
Oh, Waco dashing in, pops the lightning crash as well, and it's going to get down a lot of damage onto Shun Slay True. With his level 6 spiking out Junja as well as in the area. CFO going to be on the run and forced to back away from the tower for now. But,
yeah.
Oh, he might actually hop over the wall here. This is a huge read from Junja. Does have the Cyclone available. Pops. Oh, wow. That's the heal popped from the side of CFO. Pretty much for free. Really good heads-up play from Junja. Shurima Shuffle comes out. Paired with the RG's combo as well. Jimmy dropped very low here. Is probably going to be able to make it out with the use of his ultimate. But definitely a very good coordinated attempt from PSG.
Yeah, and I feel like that was really good for PSG just across the board. I think CFO's bot lane taking so much damage there means that, you know, Junja can just force them off the tower as a trade for the Herald. And while CFO get the Herald, I feel like more was lost for it. If you look at the bot lane CS right now, you know, Wako pretty ahead over Shun. He's definitely feeling good about that.
Yeah, and especially because you don't really mind if the Gragas gets behind, you know, as PSG, because if he really is itemizing towards the Iceborne gold, and it's a tank Gragas, it doesn't really matter how much gold he has. He's just going to body slam you and throw barrels around anyway. But he does have to make sure he doesn't die to rest here. He's actually in a bit of trouble.
Oh,
He doesn't have flash available. I think he used it earlier, and rest is just going to slowly whittle him down. But there it is. There's the body slam, and just like that, he's out of there.
Yeah. Now, where will this Herald go? I'm assuming it has to go bot lane. I feel like you've got to get Shun back in this game.
I wonder if Rest is going to try for this. Junja is waiting in the area, and Rest doesn't have any vision on it. It's going to get the stun down, but going to quickly back out of there.
CFO, they are regaining control of this bot side river. They definitely have the strongest skirmish at the moment. But are they going to find an opportunity to use this Herald? It's pretty difficult. I feel like it's hard to drop mid. It's pretty hard to drop bot as well. Might just save it. Try wait to win a skirmish and then drop it after. But yeah, so far, no kills.
Does feel like a bit of a box ticked for PSG so far though, because they've been able to not shut down the Lucian Nami quite yet, but definitely set it behind where they want to be. And without giving up too much in return as well, I think is a pretty good win for them in this early game.
Yeah, I think also managing to secure the first drag with a Zeri Lulu as your bot side is pretty good. Definitely a good hustle. Yubao does have a lot of priority in this 1v1, but still doesn't have his first item completed, so not going to quite be as strong in these skirmishes as Jimmy and Zakali will be.
Gemini waiting in the wings. Waco has to be really careful here.
Oh, he's tempted to go in.
Oh, that's one of them now. I'm not sure why Gemini walked out like that. That feels like you have nothing really to gain from that, but trying to get a little bit closer for the ult. But ultimately going to give that whole thing away.
Yeah, so I think this Herald probably will just end up going mid. It looks like bot's sort of unbreakable. Maybe you can look on the Yubao, who does not have cleanse. Pretty hard to kill though. I feel like if anything, it's just you chunk him out. Gemini's actually swapping to top side and still has that Herald, so could end up actually going top. Resto did just lose a lot of his health.
Yeah, Archer's actually doing a pretty good job in this matchup now. He keeps getting Rest to come up and try and cancel him, which is... I think he honestly doesn't mind too much because his wave's already pretty bad anyway. And he's got a TP as well.
Okay, they're going to look mid. Yubao doesn't have any MR, no Merc treads as well. He could probably just dodge.
Oh, ult comes out. Doesn't quite connect. Very close though.
The Herald will be dropped, but it's a full health tower. Although giving a little bit of gold to Akali does feel good, especially towards getting that first item.
Oh, Junja's here. He's going straight in onto Gemini. Pops the cycle and has the second one available as well, but doesn't quite connect it. Ooh, okay. Good look there from Junja. Not quite enough, but Gemini is forced to flash away.
Yeah, I wonder if he could have followed the flash. I guess might have just died at Jimmy and after. But did manage to get the flash. Didn't have to invest his own. So pretty big win, especially with Dragon spawning in 25 more seconds. You have to feel like that should be a little better for PSG.
Yeah, they have got control of this bot lane as well because of Junja's presence. Looks like Woody might actually be taking a base. Not too sure about this timing.
Yeah, that is kind of strange. I guess they're just not looking to start the Dragon earlier. Maybe they're just looking to get all their bases, complete first item on Yubao, just get back on the map, and they'd be ready to pressure. So playing it a little slower, and they don't need to play fast, right? They scale pretty hard. They've already got that first drag, so solid winning condition for CFO isn't really that alive. And Gemini is looking to start it. CFO, they're on the map earlier. They have the current control. I think if you're PSG, you just give this up and scale more. You don't really have to worry about fighting. It's only the first drag. Really not a big deal. I think if you can get an early drag, like PSG did, that gives you so many more options. Just to chill out, relax for another 5 or so minutes. Big win from them. The first item's starting to be completed. We see the Leandry on Yubao, Gore Drinker on Rest. I guess we are going to see the Iceborne. It's going to be very tanky Gragas.
Definitely going to be a lot more difficult for Rest to pressure on the top side. But still, I feel like the longer this game goes on without a kill, the better it is for PSG. They are slowly scaling up. And Lucian Nami has yet to find any value.
Yeah, I think the Lucian Nami, it's really interesting because it doesn't necessarily have to find its snowball early. It just needs to find a snowball at some point, right?
Right.
And I think here, the kind of window for you finding a snowball is closing though, because you get outranged by Azir.
Well, Waco has found Slectru by himself. Tidal Wave is popped. Bubble is going to connect as well.
Ooh.
Going to swim on out of there. But good trade from Waco.
Yeah, so PSG just slowly edging out these small advantages over the enemy team, although this bot lane tower is just going to go over. CFO, they're all grouping for the Herald, but we saw how useful the last Herald was. This feels like another trade that just isn't really worth it.
Yeah, and PSG overall in the first 15 minutes of this game have seemed like they've been doing a good job of shutting down the early aggression that we've seen from CFO in the past few games, which it only feels like it's a good sign for them as this game continues to progress.
Yeah, and for that Herald, CFO lost the bot tower and plenty of bot camps, and they don't even get traded on the other side of the map. So I think PSG, they're getting very ahead of this. And this Herald, it's going to have to break the mid-tier 1, otherwise it's just going to be completely useless. And Shun on the other side is trying to trade what he can.
Oh, Rest actually going in.
Here's a wave.
Wow, yeah. Get some damage down onto the decoy as well for good luck. Does save the tower for now, but Jimin is looking for something. I don't think he's going to be able to find it. But Shun on the top side tries to flash forward to dodge the explosive cast, but it still gets caught by it.
Yeah, pretty importantly, Shun used both sums and didn't manage to pick up a kill. So that's really, really problematic. Won't have those for this next dragon fight. He does pick up a tower, which is good. Investing both sums for no kill, it feels really, really bad, especially when you know that like you need to find some snowball here. Now CFO, they're still slightly ahead in gold, but compositionally, I do feel like they're starting to fall behind. Although at this next dragon, even without Shun's sums, they have Lucian and Akali, right? So that's very strong, especially in this stage of the game.
It does feel like Jimmy, with his flash available, is going to be the one who should be primarily looking for, a crazy angle in this upcoming fight. Both teams are not really giving up an inch. Gold lead is even.
Yeah, I think PSG are going to try and knock down this tower, but it's pretty hard. Walking up to the tower against Jimmy and Zakali does feel not like the best decision. Yubao can just kind of keep this up for a while. I think this mid tower will have to get heralded. Otherwise, it'll pretty much never go down. Azir just has too much range of the enemy comp here. So unless you can pick him, it's going to be pretty hard to ever siege that tower down without the herald. Maybe just saving the herald here and going to drop it a bit before dragon spawns. CFO, they're definitely posturing around the area. We've got 4 people on mid wave. Are we going to siege it down?
Well, Gemini's looking. Gonna drop the Rift Herald, and it looks like this tower is... Oh, actually, it's not gonna go down quite yet. Gemini uses his ult. Not really close to seeing anyone.
Yeah, at least they got the charge off, but the tower did not get stunned by the Sedge ult.
Yeah, potentially trying to predict Wako's dash there, but...
Yeah, now 45 seconds on this drag. They don't have any Herald to drop down, and they also don't have Sedge ult. We'll see if foes still try fight it. I feel like they should. The game remains, relatively close. Obviously, the gold is fairly even. And even though I think PSG are outscaling and in overall a good spot, I think CFO are stronger at this drag. They've got that one item on the Lucian and the Nami. They've also got Akali, who's extremely strong in these fights. So CFO, if they can win this fight, they're 100% in this game still.
Yeah, on the flip side, though, if they do fumble and unable to pull off what they want to here, it looks even more dire for them, and already it feels like they are on a bit of a timer. Arju gonna find rest, not gonna use the explosive cast just yet, but Junja going on as well, gets stunned up, gets dropped very low actually. Explosive cast disrupts the backline of CFO, but they're gonna continue wrestling for control. I think CFO did come out a little bit on top of that trade. Junja gonna try and heal what he can off of the jungle creeps, but it's not going to be too much. He's still sitting at half HP.
Yeah, CFO definitely have more sustain.
PSG playing this super slow. Jimmy, though, he's got a huge flank. Doesn't choose to go in just yet, but is continuing to pressure PSG.
Yeah, they're kind of just squaring off right now. It's hard for anyone to really pull the trigger, especially with Jimmy in the wings here.
Gemini does have ult back up. Jimmy's still waiting. He is going to get spotted out by the ward, but it's still a bit of a dangerous situation for PSG to be in. Both teams actually walking a bit away from the dragon, and Jimmy going to get looked on now by Junja. Has the cyclone available, isn't going to use it. Both teams being very, very careful about what abilities they hold on to for now, as the dragon still hasn't really been started.
It looks like Jimmy is looking to base and TP, so potentially has item or just wants a better flank angle. Okay, he's TPing back to where he was.
PSG though might be looking. They don't actually know. They assume Jimmy's still around.
This has been the longest dragon setup ever.
Yeah, both teams really just not wanting to get it low at all. Jimmy now on the same position. Junja gonna look it once again, but still saving that cyclone, trying to push Jimmy back, then work with the window that they create from that. Jimmy is really reliant on the shuriken, so as soon as he uses that, it's a big window gone for CFO. Wow, this is a really extended dragon fight for sure, but CFO looking like they want to start doing it now. Jimmy has gone even wider this time, trying to create an undetectable flank. He hasn't been spotted just yet, but Junja goes in. The Dragon's dropped very low. Does reset a little bit. We'll see who picks it up. Gemini is going to be the one to take that one away. Jimmy sitting in the back on a shroud. Doesn't get cycloned up. Rest dropping very low as well, but isn't going to quite go down yet. First one picked up for Gemini, but CFO now they dropped very low. PSG looking for what they can. Yubao finds Shun. Waco going to chase over as well. Slaytrue and Gemini both unable to do anything to fight back. Gemini gets picked up. Slaytrue might be next to fall. Junja going over the wall as well. They're going to try and pick up Rest as well on the back end of this. They are going to find it, but Slaytru does live for now. Waco, whoa,
Wow.
okay, that was risky.
I
But
like it.
still a huge turnaround for PSG.
Yes, that's really good for PSG. I mean, are they potentially looking at Baron? No, I
No.
don't think they are. So, the Dragon did go over to CFO there, but I think it really doesn't matter. And I think it's very important that neither Jimmy nor Shun picked up any kills in that fight. So, PSG, let's see a replay of it. Jimmy had a really wide flank after, 10 years of back and forth, but I think... Yeah, I feel like CFO, Jimmy kind of really failed to actually find value in the backline, right? Like, he's got this big flank and it doesn't really lead to anything. And then, yeah, it just feels like CFO's frontline just kind of, like, evaporates here. Admittedly, the health bars are very low, right?
Yeah.
But I think, yeah.
This is exactly what Jimmy was so scared of, right? Because you've got PSG positioning so defensively and so together, especially when, you've got the Azir and the Gragas ready to sort of push you back as soon as you try and ult in. It makes it difficult to find any sort of window, especially when PSG are clearly being so clingy about using their abilities.
Yeah, that's
It's a tough situation.
When you're a Kali in this situation, you've got to, like, there's a lot of stuff you have to get through, right? The Zeri has flash, barrier, and 5,000 damage. And the Lulu,
5,000
right?
damage.
So it's not like you can just go in and kill her whenever you want. She's actually extremely tanky. You really have to... It's like a slow burn almost of actually taking her out. Unless you
Yeah.
can hit up the CC.
Definitely full credit to Waco though. Putting out 5k damage in an early fight like this, definitely nothing to laugh at. And as we said before, it only gets worse from here for CFO. They were unable to pick up any real gold for Jimmy and Shun. Has been pretty back and forth up until now, but PSG starting to pull ahead just a little bit. Jimmy once again though, finding a flank for himself. It's just so hard to really capitalize on it though, because PSG, they're positioning so closely together.
Yeah, and Wako's actually gone for the IE. Normally we see the Navori, but he likes doing big damage. Jimmy has another flank, and I really like that PSG, for the most part, have just been chasing Jimmy away from these flanks, really making it difficult for him to start the fight in a good situation.
Yeah, Jinja especially kind of just keeps going back to make sure Jimmy's not close enough to impact his team. And doing a good job of that too, actually choking him down a decent amount. Just making it that much harder for Jimmy to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, I think even last fight, when he forced him to take that wide angle, it made him take so much time. That it was at the fight, slightly later than he wanted to. And also just gives like way more time to react to it, rather than everything happening all at once.
I think the biggest thing that's making it so difficult for CFO to find anything is that PSG, they're not really punished for, or in terms of team fighting, not really punished for balling together as 5, because CFO, they have the tidal wave, which is obviously a very slow ability, even though it is an AoE. But other than that, there's really not much they need to watch out for. Right? There's no big wombo combo from the side of CFO. As long as they have their disengage tools ready on top of their carries, it's hard to see them losing a fight.
Yeah, I think CFO, they've really, they've opted for earlier skirmishing with the Akali, with the Renekton, and neither of them have really translated into anything. They've farmed fine and actually rested up 60 CS, but I have to feel like RG's Gragas is actually more impactful at the moment.
We saw it in the last fight as well, right? We saw Rest try and do stuff in the front line, but ultimately just gets body slammed, CC'd, and killed before he can really accomplish anything. Now PSG, they have control over this mid wave. Not too much is going to happen, but just like that, the Dragon is coming back up in 30 seconds. Might have found Jimmy here. Huge explosive cast, followed by the Shumio Shuffle, shuffling him out of the Shroud, and he gets picked off by Waco almost immediately.
Yeah, that was really nice. I really like how PSG were willing to commit ults, but also save their sums, right? They know which things are really important here and which aren't. Actually, potentially looking towards the Baron side. Dragon's in 10 seconds.
Yeah, this is definitely a potential angle for them. CFO feels like they don't really have enough damage and tools to actually contest this.
Yeah, there's no culling or Sedgeoff.
But Junjai's got a huge flank. PSG, they're not looking for the Baron, they're looking for the fight. He has been spotted, is going to get picked off. Has the decoy and cyclone available, but is going to actually get killed by Shun. They were able to pick up on that flank just in the nick of time. And from that, CFO might look to push the Dragon, but still not the easiest thing for them to do.
Yeah, so PSG, they get a little bit greedy. They decide instead of taking the safe play, instead of going the drag, they'll actually force Baron. Not only that, they'll try find the flank. And unfortunately, Junja is discovered on the side and just instantly dies. And this should be third drag going over to CFO. Unless PSG can contest, they might be able to.
Yeah, PSG, they're closing in. Jimin once again on the flank. Arja has to be really careful. Jimin hasn't swatted on the wards, so he's going to make sure that he has no way onto the backline, but finds a chicken onto Woody. That is just enough for PSG to lose their cool, and CFO picking up that third dragon for themselves. Potentially a win con for them. Cloud Drake isn't... It's a bit hard to work around, not as, like... what's the word? It's not as obviously strong as like an Ocean Soul or an Infernal Soul, but definitely is still a boost that they could definitely use. Now though, PSG once again turning the attention back to the Baron.
Yeah, trying to abuse CFO's poor tempo and just start this up. And actually, it's getting very, very low.
4K already.
They might play for the 50-50. Maybe
Ooh,
Azir can
Vision on it now.
Yeah.
That's not very low. Gemini might look for the steal here. I think he actually gets interrupted with the charge and knocked away. So it probably is going to be picked up by the blue team. But wait, the TP is coming in. Rest has got a flank ready. Ooh, Jimmy knows already dead. Rest trying to do the best he can. Finding his position onto Waco, but hops over the wall. Trying to auto-take over that. And now Junja with a huge cyclone onto the backline. Shun and Slichu both down for the count. Rest trying to do what he can once again, but going to get chased down slowly. Waco misses his dash over the wall, which means Gemini is going to live for now. But still another big win for the side of PSG.
Yeah, what an insane call from PSG. Obviously, you know that CFO is behind on tempo, right? So you can look to pressure the Baron, but actually just fully committing to it, you know, knowing that Azir can kind of play goalie almost over the wall. And in fact, didn't even hit the ult. But with that and the polymorph coming out of Lulu, managed to keep him over the wall long enough. And also, Wako in that fight, you know, massive performance. So we see the replay. You've got to keep Gemini out of the pit somehow. So at first, it's Yubao tries to get the ult, doesn't quite manage it, but he does get Sejuani's Q. And then Gemini gets polyed. They manage to secure the Baron. And then pay attention to Wako in this fight, because it'd be very easy just to die here. But actually, off the back of it, despite... you know, the rest of his teammates kind of going down, manages to get over the wall crucially and live. And then immediately finds the re-engage as well. And just manages to clean everyone up. Something like 7,000 damage done in this fight.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is a 3v4 fight from that point for PSG as well, you know, with Rest picking up Woody and Yubel on the back end of that. So, huge turnaround from them. And it really just speaks to the coordination that they already have, you know, executing on that fight pretty much perfectly.
Feeling we've seen this so many times today. The Zeri putting up some absurd damage numbers. And now the last pitfall for PSG really is this dragon in 2 minutes 30. If you somehow give over the soul, it's not the end of the world, but it's certainly, it makes the game more difficult, right?
Yeah.
But if they can keep the pressure on, if they can just keep sieging, you know, make sure to peel for Wako, they should feel pretty confident about this game. I mean, he's 5-0. He has the barrier up, although does not have flash.
Has the Mikhails from Woody as well on the Lulu. Jimmy and looking for yet another flank. Waco is actually going to hop right into him, but I don't think he's scared. Oh, the wild growth, and he's just going to keep autoing. He can do that. He's got an ability, not an auto attack. That does get stunned up. Mikhails isn't going to be popped for that quite yet. Junja looking to see what he can do with the Cyclone, but not going to find anything. And PSG back to pressuring this Indom Tower. Although CFO, they're feeling a little bit more confident now that PSG have some slightly reduced health bars.
Yeah, and in the meantime, the Silent Towers are just falling.
Oh, Waco pops the Lightning Crash. Shieldwood pops as well, but he is very low. Now from PSG, being a little bit worried here. Jimmy doesn't have the ultimate available, but that doesn't mean he isn't a threat.
Could get the red buff and just go back to pressuring. But it looks like it is going to be just sync resets. Probably just going to make... Ooh.
Oh, Slater actually just barely flashes away from that Shreema Shuffle. Good attempt from Yubao there to try and capitalize on the misplaced support.
Yeah, so a minute left on this dragon, and you have to feel like both teams will really want to contest this. For CFO, this is their lifeline back into the game, and for PSG, this is the nail in the coffin if they win this fight. They shut down CFO's win condition, as well as obviously win the fight. And the goal difference is really starting to build up. 5,000 currently.
Yeah, 5,000 exactly for the side of PSG. And most of that is on Wako as well, so that's exactly where it hurts for CFO.
Yeah, now PSG, they have a lot of control. It's going to be very difficult for CFO to contest this.
Yeah, Jimmy keeps looking for these flanks, but it's so hard to actually find anything off of them. Wako's got so many tools to keep him safe. He's got a Lulu on top of him, got the Mikhails, he's got Barrier. He's got a stopwatch now in his back pocket as well. It's so hard to see a world where he actually dies in any of these fights. Jimin can flank all the way from the fountain, it still wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, and PSG, I think they have total control over this now. CFO, they might just try run down mid-wave, try contest that way. But Wako is doing a good job of making sure that doesn't happen.
Goes into the wall, does hit a few trees, but ultimately not what CFO are looking for. I think it is good to fish like that though, especially because you want to try and pressure Woody into using that Mikhails, just so it's down for that next fight.
Yeah,
PSG.
This just gets picked up, right?
Yeah.
Does get picked up. Now, next Baron is only in a minute 30 from now. PSG, though, they're going to keep the pressure on. They're going to try break this tier 2 bot lane at least before they look at the Baron.
Jimmy looking to shove on the top side and give CFO some presence back on the map, but PSG have seen and they're going to just keep pressuring in on this Inhib tower. Wave does get pretty much cleared. Wako stepping a bit too far forward. Mikhails is burned now, so that is one more defensive tool down. But insane that his flash is coming back up again.
Yeah, PSG actually getting very aggressive here. Most teams would just wait for the Baron, but they're still trying to keep the pressure on. They know they're ahead. But it looks like they are going to back off. Probably will just go set up for this Baron now. Recalls will come through. And with the Baron in 40 seconds. Actually, Gemini might look to go on mid-wave. Not going to be fully committed to.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about Waka, but Yubel as well is also scaling up pretty decently. He's almost hit his Void stuff as well. Oh yeah, it's just shit it actually. Yeah, it's a big pickup for him. He's definitely going to be a big damage threat alongside Wako. But obviously Wako is still sort of the main guy dealing out most of the consistent DPS. And I think that it's just so difficult for CFO to find a window because it's really not just one window, right? It's multiple windows in succession because they really need to peel back the layers of defense, the many layers of defense that Wako has.
Yeah.
He's like an onion.
It's definitely very difficult to do at this point. They do have decent Baron control. PSG, they're going to come take it back. Tower will go down.
There's a flank ward waiting on the edge there.
This could definitely be it. I think PSG, we've seen earlier in the game, they want any opportunity they get to start up this dragon. And now that they've established really good control over it, they're checking out bushes, trying to find Gemini before they start this.
We'll see if Rest might be in trouble here. Oof. Junjia, once again, he's so patient on holding the Cyclone, waiting for the perfect opportunity to use it. And that is really, really good discipline from the young superstar jungler. And they are going to be starting up the Baron now.
Yeah, and just starting it with 2, I actually like this. You show most of your DPS on mid-wave, and I'm not sure if Jimmy, I assume he does have vision from where he is.
Ooh, I don't know if he's quite close enough.
No, to kind of
yeah, so they actually have no idea. CFO are starting to suspect something, though. They're starting to walk into River. Waco, oh wow, actually the save in from Arja, and blue team PSG once again picking up the Baron Nashor. Jimin trying to do what he can on the flank, but he's so far away, and there's so many defensive tools still available. Junja goes in, finds a Cyclone onto so many people, and PSG are just completely cleaning up. Wako pretty much full HP, and Jimmy running in on the back end of that, but ultimately not able to find anything. There's just too much going on and too little he can do.
Yeah, and I think PSG can probably just end off this, and I think that might just dethrone
Arja finds Shun. I wonder who actually wins out in this 1v1. Arja tanks so much damage up Shun. He's going to try and pick up 1 kill at least before his Nexus goes down. Emo pop from Arja, but yeah, no members available in the base for CFO. Gemini is here, but he's going to get picked off pretty quickly by Wako. Is actually going to survive from now, but the Nexus isn't going to be as lucky, and PSG picking up a huge win against CFO and dethroning them from that first place slot.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty insane. They stopped their win streak. They actually might still be first place, right? Tied first?
Yeah.
Yeah, so still first place, but did get rid of Sol first place, which is good. And yeah, I mean, really nice start from them, right? Like PSG, they come in, new player, they look dominant from pretty much start to finish. And I think the interesting thing was it was actually Wako who kind of put the game on his back, right? Obviously, it's a team effort, right? It's not just him, but I mean, every fight just putting out, 6,000-7,000 damage. He already had a 12 KDA before that game. I don't think he died in that game from what I remember.
Yeah.
So
yeah, really good play from him. Really disciplined on all fronts. But yeah, him especially, being the main carry for the majority of that game. It takes a lot to, have the awareness to not make a single mistake, even when you have like so many layers of protection like to help you. It's really important to try and keep as many of those layers up as possible, right? And that's exactly what he was able to do, just so consistently putting out his maximum DPS while staying safe at all times. Like, really good performance from him.
Yeah, and I think he also had quite a lot of impact on the early game. Like, if you remember, he found that really good trade on the CFO's bot lane, and that allowed Jinjia to just walk them off the tower. So consistently, PSG felt like they were just trading up, you know, when they were like giving the Heralds. And I also think that CFO, they put a big reliance on Herald, and I can kind of see why they do that, because they're normally a team that plays from pretty far ahead. And when you're ahead, Herald's a great way to